The Detective Pikachu movie trailer premiered on November 12, 2018 to a surprisingly positive reception. This has been the endpoint on a very long journey, with many people seeking to get the rights to the Pokemon license to adapt it into a big budget movie. But Nintendo has been a famously very fickle and protective company when it comes to the rights and management of one of their biggest IPs, and of course thanks to this management, Pokemon has remained a relevant juggernaut for over 20 years with its rock-solid main series game formula and transmedia consisting of an empire of animated movies, TV series, card games, and other products that have all spawned from it. But it's this careful stewardship that has allowed Pokemon to endure, where other similar things like Monster Rancher or Digimon have been quickly forgotten and discarded. But what on the surface seemed like a terrible idea in terms of a feature film based on the obscure Pokemon spin-off that was completely unrelated to the core appeal of Pokemon training and battling, and quite frankly seemed like a terrible idea. But now it looks far better than it has any right to be. Instead of being an ironic so bad it's good curiosity like the Venom movie, it seems like it's become something that most people, including myself, seem genuinely excited for. But with this, I see something bigger. This movie could be a game changer that will single-handedly remake the landscape of pop culture and entertainment, which might sound far-fetched. Ha 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 ha! See what I did there? But stick around and see why I think this could easily be a billion-dollar movie that remakes Hollywood, and if you follow my advice, could potentially also make you a lot of money.
You got a lobster magnet. Lobster's a 10 eye, don't you grab it.
So in many ways, Pokemon has always been a golden goose that had long been lusted by the powers that be in Hollywood, and given the fact that we live in a world with big budget movies based on the Battleship board game, the Emoji movie, and the better than it has any right to be Lego movie, Pokemon seems like a no-brainer. Even the disgraced screenwriting wunderkind, Max Landis, was commissioned at one point to take a crack at writing a Pokemon spec script, but even he could not appease the powers that be at Nintendo. And quite frankly, Nintendo is still uninterested in giving away the keys to the core Pokemon universe proper, with Ash, Team Rocket, and the rest of the Pokemon kitchen sink. But they were willing to part with the spin-off. Their Detective Pikachu adventure game was free to be adapted, and Warner Brothers / Legendary Pictures were smart enough to take what they can get, and what they got was a diamond in the rough. What most would consider to be the discarded leftovers of the Pokemon franchise might actually be the key to mainstream success. Well, let's be honest, at face value, Detective Pikachu is a miserable, awful, terrible idea. It's not what most people are familiar with when they think of Pokemon, and it's not something anyone was particularly eager to see. But the magic of having one Pokemon speaking with Ryan Reynolds' voice that only the main character can hear is the value of acknowledging that this is stupid and ridiculous. While it's disappointing that we don't have Danny DeVito like the internet wanted,
Here's that rat bastard!
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta get stabbed!
He's saying you can shove it.
I am gonna shove my fist right into your ass, hard and fast. Not in a sexual way, in a I am pissed off at you way.
from a marketing standpoint, Ryan Reynolds is pure genius and the part of Detective Pikachu's 1-2 punch of success. So you have these two factors, decades of nostalgia built up over the course of over 20 years that have seen multiple generations grow up with Pokemon always being a fixture in their lives. This is accentuated by the fact that with the core game series, Nintendo does not fuck around. They never oversaturate the market and are always leaving a 2 to 4 year gap between generations, and it's not uncommon to see people in their late 20s and 30s still get excited whenever a core Pokemon game is released. And that is thanks to a core battle system that is always being refined and deepened with each new release. While I could argue that there's a lot more they could be doing, the fact that Pokemon has remained evergreen is a credit to its very cautious and smart management. The second factor is of course the Ryan Reynolds factor. Casting Ryan Reynolds is an open acknowledgement that this is stupid, and we know it's stupid, but come on, join in, have some fun. Thanks to the mega successful Deadpool films, Ryan has become the full ambassador of self-aware snark, because let's face it, to the uninitiated, all of the Pokemon crap kinda feels like this.
I've got to collect all Pokemon. I've got to collect them all so I can become Royal Crown Chimpoke Master. Oh?
Now you can collect them all. Furry Cat, Donkey Trunk, Penguin, Shoe, Lamtor. Collect them all and you can become Royal Crown Chimpoko Master.
I have to become Royal Crown Chimpoke Master.
Well, now you can buy your very own. I've got to buy Chimpokemon. I've got to buy it. I've got to buy it.
So instead of an entire movie filled with dumb anime bullshit every time Detective Pikachu opens his mouth, it's like the shadow of Deadpool is coming in and telling anyone over the age of 40 in the audience, shh, it's okay. I know this is dumb, but sit back, relax, enjoy it, because I'm here, and that means no one will make fun of you for enjoying any of this. The nostalgia along with the snark go hand in hand in creating something that caters towards the hardcore Pokemon fan as well as the casual normie audience. The designs of the Pokemon also cater towards this sensibility as well. Now I know I'm sure to get lots of comments about how some of you out there hate the Pokemon designs and think they're an abomination, but let's be honest, there was never anything that was going to make everyone happy. So if they were completely faithful, most audiences would find it off-putting to be watching 2 hours of people interacting with cartoony Pokemon critters since they're supposed to be like the animals of our world. So here we have a compromise. The Pokemon are cartoony but have realistic features like scales and fur. It feels like the best way to reach a happy compromise that will be acceptable for both sides of the debate, because going too far on the realistic or cartoony side would prove to be too polarizing and alienate more people than it would successfully attract. The fact that the story will essentially be a mystery adventure about a young kid cop teaming up with Detective Pikachu is also a familiar trapping that most audiences will find more accessible than a traditional Pokemon battle with all the usual BS about the correct typing and counters that makes the anime so unwatchable for most people over the age of 10. And you can already see how the movie is using that to its playful advantage with bits like the Mr. Mime interrogation scene. So if you can manage to have at least half a dozen little fan service moments like that in set pieces, then you've got a real winner. So I honestly think it's not too unrealistic to imagine that Detective Pikachu could enter into the very prestigious $1 billion movie club. Then that's where things get interesting. I don't think we'll suddenly see some huge boom in video game movies. Most of those have been financial and critical disappointments, and Detective Pikachu will be seen as a fluke that's impossible to imitate without use of the Pokemon license. But there's another factor at play that will begin a chain domino effect that could change the entertainment landscape in a huge way. There is another well-known property that Legendary Films has recently acquired the rights to in order to make a live-action feature film from, and that is My Hero Academia. Now normally I'd say this project would probably never see the light of day and be sequestered in development hell, like how Hollywood has threatened to make a live-action Bleach movie, a live-action Naruto movie, and of course the live-action One Piece TV series and the live-action Death Note movie. Oh wait, that one actually happened, and we were all the worse for it. So these things are always being picked up because they have huge popular international fan bases, but I don't think the people who acquire them really understand what they have or what their core appeal is. When shonen storytelling is done well, it's like Harry Potter on steroids. It's a long-running license to print money. Thus far, no one seems to realize that. There always seems to be a huge disconnect between the people who get the rights to these properties and the people who understand them, so they languish in development hell, never to see the light of day. If they come out from that purgatory, they tend to be horribly butchered, like the Dragon Ball Evolution, where the producers were so terrified about alienating a mainstream audience that they water down the material to such a degree that it's unpalatable to both mainstream audiences and hardcore fans alike.
What are you doing here, geeko?
I'm just going to the party. I was invited. I'm not looking for any trouble.
Trouble found you, freak. So listen, why don't you turn around, walk away. No one will even know you were here.
Later, loser.
All right. I made a promise that I wasn't going to fight.
What?
I made a promise that I'm not going to fight.
Oh. Don't worry, it won't be a fight. It'll be a massacre.
Hey, Chi-Chi! Hey, thanks for inviting me to your party. Oh, and Fuller? Your boys. They've been showing me what they got.
Ha Because every fantasy superhero movie has to have that scene where the main guy fights the bullies, right? That's what makes American movies so great. Stupid, boring straw man villains. Big budgeted bombs like Ghost in the Shell also go a long way towards scaring people away from even attempting these adaptations. But as the world of 4-quadrant blockbuster entertainment gets nerdier and nerdier, with little to no indication of slowing down, the demand for more sci-fi, fantasy, and superhero stories is going to continue to grow and grow. As of right now, the number of long-running shonen series is like a huge well of oil just waiting to burst forth and provide the first major studio that pulls it off with a literal mountain of cash. If you thought things were ridiculous with Harry Potter 7 Part 2, or all those YA books where they'd split the last 300-page book into 2 parts just so they could stretch out the material, you ain't seen nothing yet. Just wait till we're getting Bleach 11 or Naruto Part 17. But things have always been at a standstill. Generally, people in development have been way too cautious. Maybe you'll hear some news, maybe you'll see something like the Weta Workshop concept art for their Evangelion movie, but then it just goes silent. But after Detective Pikachu makes all the money, things aren't going to be so slow anymore for the My Hero Academia movie. That thing is going to be fast-tracked, and given how much material there is to draw from, that's easily at least 4 to 5 movies worth of stuff just from the 200-plus chapters of manga material. And unlike something like Bleach or Naruto, My Hero Academia is something that won't need a great deal of exposition to explain all of its lore. Audiences will already be acclimated to the idea of quirks thanks to nearly 20-plus years of X-Men movies, and superheroes are something anyone can understand. Even basic mainstream moms can get behind the story of Deku because it's already been told to them many times in many different ways before.
Oh God, where's Midoriyama?
Midoriya.
What's his name?
Midoriya. Not Midoriyama.
Whatever his name is. Deku, Daku, Dayquil.
Dayquil.
So once you have that out there in the next year or two, that's when the arms race will really accelerate. Forget trying to sell audiences on a Spider-Man cinematic universe where Spider-Man doesn't exist. It's all about who can get the rights and churn out as much shonen manga the fastest. Studios left and right will be clawing each other to get their hands on second and even third string properties just so they can cash in. If you thought the comic book boom was big, you ain't seen nothing yet. And this might have still happened if Detective Pikachu was bad, because it was still going to make a lot of money just from the novelty factor alone. But now that there's a possibility that it might even go as far as being actually good, that will accelerate things far faster, and we'll live in an interesting new era where the cultural power will transfer from comic book nerds to weebs. It'll be madness, cosplay in the streets, pop idol concerts, Bed Bath & Beyond stocking up on Dakimakura body pillows, husbandos and wifos living together, mass hysteria! That's all becoming a much more realistic possibility.
I love sushi.
I love Japan, period.
The tea ceremonies. J-Rock! Yeah.
Garugamesh!
Oh, yeah.
I love anime!
Yeah. And manga!
And gaming!
Yeah.
DDR!
Smiley K!
Hey! Sakura-kan ikimasu!
Now we get to the third part, the part of how you could possibly benefit from all of this and make some money. So, in my spare time, I dabble a bit in day trading, and what I love more than anything else is day trading video game company stocks. Since I've been following the industry for so long, I've got a decent knack for the ins and outs of it, and I see a potentially big opportunity coming in the future. Now, first of all, let me make a big, huge disclaimer. Buying stocks is extremely risky. Buying individual companies instead of ETFs or index funds is even more dangerous. And finally, there is nothing more unstable than investing in entertainment stocks, given how fickle the tastes of the populace can be and how often they can change on a whim. So before you buy any stock, make sure you consult with a financial manager. Be sure you don't spend any more than what you're comfortable potentially losing, especially since, as of the time of this writing, we're seeing the market course correct after years of booming increases and gains with the massive sell-off. And chances are it might only get worse in what will likely become a non-stop clash between the president and the Democrat-held Congress next year, as Trump is finally faced with a much more direct checks and balances, which could force the market even lower. So I bring this up to make you as cautious and fearful as possible, because honestly, if this is something you're going to do, you should feel terrified. It's a scary world, and to be frank, this fall alone, I've lost over $10,000 in value for my stocks, and chances are I'll probably lose even more money before it gets better and course corrects. But if you have a couple of grand to spare, here's my recommendation on what you can do to take advantage of the potential upcoming Detective Pikachu bump. So Nintendo won't make any money off of the Detective Pikachu movie. Whatever money they make came from selling the movie rights, but next year, what they do have is the 8th generation Pokemon game that will probably launch during the holiday season of 2019. The very first Pokemon game that won't be a handheld, but rather a handheld console hybrid on the Nintendo Switch. One of the reasons why Pokemon has remained relevant is thanks to Nintendo's ability to always push the core game experience forward by introducing new game mechanics, new Pokemon, and expanded online functionality. They never quite go as far as they need to, but each new core release brings us a step closer towards the ultimate goal of the ultimate Pokemon game. With the upcoming 8th gen game being featured on a full-fledged console, there's a better chance than ever before that we'll see a more comprehensive online mode. I can't say much to the game since so much of it is shrouded in secrecy, but it's the perfect event for a perfect storm of profits. Detective Pikachu is released May 10th, 2019, and from it comes a new wave of Pokemania. It's back and bigger than ever before. If you thought Pokemon Go with its awful battery-sucking, data-wasting gameplay was big, then just imagine what an actually good movie filled with fan service and written by one of the writers of the original Guardians of the Galaxy could do. Plus, you got the Ryan Reynolds factor, which removes the social stigma from buying a ticket to see a Pokemon movie. Suddenly, everyone is in love with Pokemon again, and there's so much stuff out there and so many ways to engage with it. Then boom, June E3 2019, Nintendo drops a Nintendo Direct, and it's a new, beautiful Switch Pokemon game. It'll be a typhoon of hype and anticipation, all leading up towards its release later that year. A true system seller, the likes of which Nintendo hasn't seen in a long time, not to mention that they've already been testing the waters with compatibility with Pokemon Go. There's a very good chance that the 8th gen could have a complete back and forth trading as a way to integrate the two different methods of play, which we're already seeing in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. As of the time of this writing, Nintendo stock is hovering about a very nice $34 per share. It's down compared to what it was previously this year, but I think that there's a very good chance it could go up to $58 a share, or possibly even as high as it was in the height of the original Wii boom with $78 a share. So the key is to keep watch and figure out when it bottoms out. Buy it, then wait for that Pokemon game to hit. Sell it when you think the profits have hit their max or are comfortable with the money you've made. So let's say you pump in $1,000 and buy it at $34 a share. That nets you around 29 shares. If it goes up to 58, then you get 1,682, which is $682 of profit, or it could go as high as 2,262 in the best case scenario if it goes as high as $78. If you put in 10 grand, for example, though, then you get $17,052, $22,932 for the high range. But it's still a big gamble, and these are best case scenario guesstimates. And of course, the more money you invest, the more you stand to make. But don't stay in for too long. For every smart thing Nintendo does, they have a habit of doing at least 4 or 5 dumb ones.
Would be able to use the product we are developing with this Wii Vitality sensor to achieve greater relaxation. Maybe everyone under pressure in our stressful society could use this as a way to relax with a video game.
So watch the market, check the prices, and if you want to take the risk, then the Detective Pikachu bump could put a bump in your wallet. So we'll have to wait and see if my prediction is right, but in 6 months we'll know if Detective Pikachu has ushered in a new golden age for shonen anime movies, as well as Nintendo's stock price. But who knows what could happen from here till then. But hey, if you make some money, just remember who gave you the tip, and use some of that money to buy yourself a Lobster Magnet t-shirt. Thanks for hearing me out, and remember, lobsters and tennis, but don't you grab it. Don't forget to sub to this channel, and a special thanks to the Pixel Hipster who edited this video. Links to his channel in the description below. Sub his channel, and show him appreciation for his hard work and dedication. Give him a sub, he deserves it. Let's get him to 1,000.
This video was edited by me, Pixel Hipster. Go subscribe to my goddamn channel.